Alright, NXT starts off with Hendry versus Wesley. This match it became official due to last week where Wesley and Trick Williams was having a conversation. Wesley ends up doing the typical heel trope where the heel ends up saying he's going to take care of the problem on the next week's show. Of course, they don't take care of the problem. Mike Santana ended up interfering in this match, helping Hendry due to Tyson and Tariq was out there helping Wesley. So he ended up even the playing field, ends up taking them both out. This allowed Hendry to pick up the victory. Later in the show, we end up figuring out that this will be a triple threat match. Now, I know most people probably already knew that. I don't keep up with TNA, so this is my first time knowing about this. I might actually end up watching the match. I might actually watch Slammiversary just for that match specifically to see how that match turns out. And it is official that I think they end up mentioning their contract signing is going to be at the Great American Bash too. So we'll see how that plays out. But I like that they did make it a triple threat because I was like, they just completely just ignored Mike Santana completely. So I do like it as a triple threat. Well, that is more of a TNA decision than WWE. But I'm actually interested to see how this plays out. Now, I'm assuming Trick Williams is going to lose the TNA championship as he should. So, but might actually watch Slammiversary mainly for the main event because TNA as a whole, I don't have much interest. Mainly due to I already watch enough wrestling as it is. I don't want to add another wrestling show to my schedule. So, but that main event should be really good. Can't wait to see how that plays out. Afterwards, we end up getting Tony D'Angelo and the family. Luca was cutting a promo. He ends up calling out Tony D'Angelo to prove his loyalty. They go back and forth. They was mentioning what happened last week. Tony D'Angelo mentioned that he cost him the Heritage Cup. Luca, got a bit annoyed. Ends up mentioning that the things he has done for the family to prove his loyalty. He ends up mentioning that he ended up leaving college early to help Tony D'Angelo because Tony D'Angelo asked him to leave. He ends up mentioning that he gave up job opportunities for the family so he could stay in the family. Then you end up getting Channing Stacks. He comes out, interrupts them. Now, Luca ended up doing a fake where he ended up telling Stacks to shut up, and Tony D'Angelo was impressed and it looked like Luca, was proving himself to Tony. And then Channing Stacks gets in the ring. Luca ends up attacking Tony D'Angelo, which I thought was a heel turn. But then Channing Stacks puts his arm around him and he's hyped up. He's hyping Luca because he thinks Luca is siding with him. But then Luca attacks Channing Stacks as well and ends up saying that he's he's by himself now. Like he's by himself. He's not with Tony or he's not with Channing. That he's his own man. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't hate this, but I kind of like it to a degree. Mainly because I did think this storyline needed a bit of a spark. I did think it needed something to make it a bit more interesting. I don't know if this was the right play, but we'll see. I am interested to see where this goes. And he was over. Luca Crucifino was over in this segment. They was rooting for him, so this could turn out to be very interesting with these three feuding. So we'll see how this plays out. I don't know. I can see this going really bad, but I will say right now the story it got my interest again because I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of falling a little bit off this story, but it kind of got my interest again with this story right now. So I'm interested to see where this goes. We end up getting Laney Reed versus Thea Hale. They end up having a match due to Laney Reed basically saying that Thea Hale is still a child, that she's not mature enough, and that basically she ends up saying that she isn't this grown woman that she keeps calling herself. They have the match. It was a really solid match. Thea Hale ends up losing the match. Laney Reed ends up picking up the pin. Thea Hale ended up putting her hand on the ropes, but the referee didn't see her put the hand on the ropes, and she ends up losing the match. Similar to what they did with Jada Parker, where Jada Parker tapped out, but the referee didn't see it. This allowed Jada Parker to take advantage. So they're telling the story right now of Thea Hale constantly losing matches. Now, is this going to go to a heel turn? Because I'm going to be honest, I like Thea Hale, but I do think that she could use a character change. I don't know if a heel turn is the right way, but I wouldn't be mad at it. She could constantly lose matches due to the referee not paying attention. This could lead her to a darker path. I don't know if that's the route they're going, but I wouldn't mind it because I do think she needs some type of character change to really elevate her character, because she's kind of in this mode where she's stuck being like a mix between a mid-carder and a jobber. It's very weird with Thea Hale because like she has potential to have a higher ceiling due to how young she is, and she isn't bad as a character, but she's been playing this character for a while now, and I'm not gonna say it's not clicking, but it's not. It's kind of limiting her. I will say it's kind of limiting her to a certain spot. So we'll see where this goes, and I'm somewhat interested in this story. When it begins, Soruka, Zarya versus Tatum Paxley, Izzy Dane. The story here is that Soruka, I was gonna say Zarya, but it's mainly Soruka, is trying to convince Tatum Paxley that they are her real friends, and that Izzy Dane doesn't have the best interest of being her friend. And Tatum Paxley is conflicted and confused. This was a really good match. Really enjoyed this match. Towards the end of the match, you know, beginning Zarya accidentally attacking Soruka because it was a moment where Izzy Dane was in the ring. Zarya goes for a spear, but Tatum Paxley ends up pushing Zarya, not Zarya, Izzy Dane out the way, saving her, and Zarya accidentally attacks Soruka with the spear. This allowed Izzy Dane to pick up the victory and ends up getting the pinfall. And then we end up getting confirmed that later in the show that Izzy Dane will be facing Soruka for the women's North American Championship at the Great American Bash, which I am very interested in. I don't see her winning, but I do like that she got the title opportunity anyway, so I do like that. And it looks like Tatum Paxley is officially in the calling, and she's already making an impact due to that victory. And also, it was another segment where Sean Spears in the calling. Hank and Tank ended up confronting the calling due to what happened last week with them getting attacked, and they end up putting their tag team championships on the line, which I could actually see Hank and Tank possibly losing if they end up getting some interferences. So very interested to see how that all plays out. I was very critical of this decision of putting Tatum Paxley in the calling. I still am, but I do like this pairing. I do like this pairing, and I think this could go a lot of ways with Tatum Paxley because you could do two things. You could either turn her into a full heel, which I think would be great, or you could keep her babyface where she's in this mode where she's a heel by association, but she acts like a babyface, so she's very sympathetic to root for. Kind of like with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, not the same characters. I'm not saying they're the same, but in the mode of where they're a heel by association, but their character acts like a babyface. I think this could go a lot of ways, and I'm actually interested in the story. We get Ricky Saints, Ethan Page. They end up talking to Ava about, you know, what they're gonna do to settle their differences. Ethan Page ends up offering a gauntlet match with the Vanity Project, who are a group, who are a faction from Evolve. He basically ends up saying that if Ricky Saints wants a title opportunity, he has to go through a gauntlet match between all three members to get a championship opportunity. And Ricky Saints offers that if he does win the gauntlet match, then he gets to choose the stipulation. Now, I don't really like this idea. The idea is fine if they had more time to build towards this, because I'm assuming that they're going to have their rematch at the Great American Bash. If they had like 3 weeks to build this, I wouldn't mind this, but you're about to tell me that Ricky Saints is about to beat three dudes in one match. Like, that's a bit I get that they're from Evolve, so it doesn't really hurt them that much, but that's still a bit crazy that he's about to basically run through all of them in one match. That is a bit insane, but we'll see where this goes. I'm interested to see what the stipulation would be for this match. I'm assuming it's going to be the blow off match too, since they're adding a stipulation. So we'll see how this plays out. We end up getting Jasper Troy versus Inamura, number one contendership to face Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Inamura wins. I don't really like the decision, mainly because I don't understand what they're doing with Jasper Troy. Jasper Troy also got attacked by Javon Evans in this episode as well after he lost due to him attacking Javon Evans last week. Don't know what they're doing with Jasper Troy, because you had him face Obafemi in his first match, mind you, for the NXT Championship, lose, and then he lose to Inamura, which makes even less sense because Inamura is not a contender. Now, I know they're trying to build him up, but we all know he's not a contender against Obafemi, where Jasper Troy could be a future contender. Not saying this buries him or anything. I just think it may... If you didn't do the championship match beforehand, I wouldn't have an issue, but you made him lose the championship match and then lose the number one contender. I just feel like the booking was backwards. The number one contendership match should have happened first. Then it would have been fine to have him lose, and then you could have rebuilt him. But I feel like they pushed him too soon, and then now they're trying to revert back. I just don't get it. But Inamura and Obafemi at the Great American Bash don't really have interest in that match at all, but it should be a good match. So we'll see how that plays out. Then we get the main event. We get Jordynne Grace. She was cutting a promo. Then you get Fatal Influence. They come out. Jacy Jane was talking her trash. She was cutting a great promo. Then you end up getting Jacy Jane tries to attack Jordynne Grace, but Jordynne Grace saw it coming. Jordynne Grace was getting the upper hand, but eventually the numbers game caught up to Jordynne Grace. Then you get Blake Monroe. She makes her return. Well, Is it really a return? I can't remember. No, she wasn't on last week's show. No, no. Did she get attacked last week? It's, either way, she ends up returning. She ends up evening the odds, help Jordynne Grace, and then Ava comes out and she ends up making a match official for Great American Bash, where it's going to be a tag team match for Blake Monroe, Jordynne Grace versus Fatal Influence. I'm JC Jane and Fallon Henley, if I'm not mistaken. I like this. I'm very shocked. This is the route. I'm glad this is the route they're going. I'm glad this is the route they're going because I thought I thought WWE was going to do it. I thought they was going to do Blake Monroe, JCJ, Great American Bash, same day as All In, take some spotlight away from AEW. I'm glad that they didn't go that route because that would have been a terrible. That just would have been so disrespectful to JC Jane, and it makes it to where I actually think JC Jane has a shot at Evolution. I don't know if she. I'm not confident in her winning, but this does give her a better chance because you could have them lose the tag match, Fatal Influence, have Fallon Henley take the pin, and then you could just have JC Jane win at Evolution because I do think JC Jane should hold it for a bit. Now, I don't know if I like Blake Monroe being a babyface. I don't. WWE really needs to stop having every single signee that they sign from AEW be a babyface. Like, I don't get it. Outside of Ethan Page and Lexis King, I swear everyone's been a babyface. They really need to start making them heels. Like, I get it that they're over with the crowd, but my God, everyone does not need to be a babyface every new signing. This is not even just an AEW thing. They did it with Stephanie, Julia, Zarya. Like, every one of them don't need to be a babyface when they first get to WWE. But overall, this was a really good show. I really enjoyed the show. You guys, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.